On February 6, 2023, a massive earthquake hit southern Turkey near the Syrian border. The earthquake was a 7.8 on the Richter scale, and it was followed up 11 minutes later by a magnitude 6.7 aftershock. 12 hours after that, a 7.7 aftershock hit the area again. The Red Cross referred to them as the worst earthquakes the region had seen in over 20 years. A member of the Bible mission team sat down with Elmas, who's a Turkish woman who lives in Antakya with her husband, Hhmdullah. They are Christians in the predominantly Muslim country, and Elmas told us her story from that night and then afterwards. From 2014 to 2019, Elmas and Hhmdullah lived in Krikan, which is near the Syrian border. When the war broke out in Syria, they began to do refugee ministry. The Lord specifically gave them a calling for the children there, and they started a school and were able to help teach 52 kids in the refugee camp how to read and write. When COVID began, Elmas and Hhmdullah were restricted from doing their refugee ministry. They moved back to Antakya, and faced with the new mission field, they thought, why don't we do something for the children here in Antakya? Elmas said, one of our ideas was to teach them writing by writing the New Testament. After the children started writing the New Testament, their mothers wanted to do it too. By the end, we had 68 people writing down the New Testament by hand. Over the next 3 years, they served the people of Antakya, helping them to feed those who struggle in the pandemic and then investing in the lives of children. They were doing this all out of their house. For 22 years, we were praying for a place of our own, Elmas said. Finally, after 22 years, miraculously, God provided for us a place that we could have as our church. In September 2022, they began construction on the new church building. Hhmdullah and Elmas were asleep when the earthquake hit. The earthquake lasted for 1.5 minutes. Elmas said, we woke up, we took each other's hands, and we started praying. We didn't try to escape. She described the noise being like mountains hitting each other. When the earthquake subsided, they didn't realize quite how big it had been. As they moved to leave their house, they saw the floor was covered in dishes, dirt, everything else that had been on the house is on the ground. Thankfully, praise the Lord, the house did not collapse. When we opened the door of the house and went out into the street, we were shocked, Elmas said. In front of us, there were normally 6 tall buildings. 4 of them had come down. It was raining, and you could hear the screams all around you of the people in the street. Over 50,000 Turkish people were killed in the earthquakes. More than 8,000 more people died in nearby Syria. 115,000 people were injured, and over 1.5 million became homeless. The official count was 325,522 buildings that have been severely damaged or destroyed. All of this in the span of 1 day. Elmas said, when we opened the door, suddenly people started running into our house asking for help. Everybody who was on the street was wearing their pajamas. Everybody was wet from the rain, and they didn't have any food. They didn't have any shoes. Hhmdullah and Elmas opened up their car for people to sit and recover, be away from the outside. Elmas went and grabbed all of the blankets and clothes and shoes they had and began to distribute it to the people in the street. As the aftershocks hit over those next few hours, they weathered them in their cars full of people in the streets. Elmas said these were the people who had no family in the city, so they were able to rest and deal with the shock. All around them, you could see those with families sifting through the rubble frantically, hoping desperately to find their loved ones. Elmas said, I didn't feel the fear anymore, but when we had been doing the children's ministry, these same children could have been in the destruction. It was not fear anymore, it was shock. I cannot describe the feeling. Sadness is not enough to describe this feeling I had. Elmas described that most of the survivors lived in their own separate houses. Many from apartment buildings, they died because of the buildings collapsing. Over the next days, Elmas and Hhmdullah, they reunited with some of the children and families that they had been ministering to. People from other churches began coming to Antakya to support those in the earthquake. On the first day after the earthquake, one family, which were believers from Ankara, they came to us, Elmas said. They brought us blankets and food. Then the Diyarbakir church, they came, and they had packs with them. They had tents, food, blankets, stoves, anything else that we needed at that time. It wasn't our original plan, she said. How could it be? But automatically, we started this ministry. Their house was too damaged to use as a base of operations for the disaster relief. It was severely damaged in the earthquake and in the aftershocks. So Elmas and Hhmdullah moved to where they were building the church. Miraculously, the church construction was not badly damaged and served as a great place to kind of have a base for the ministry there in Antakya. Elmas said, "For several months, I couldn't really believe the earthquake really happened. I couldn't believe that a city could be gone in a minute and so many loved ones be gone. However, after the tragedy, the Lord has brought light to Antakya. Throughout the year, providing relief to the community, God provided support and volunteers. As the community grapples with the effects of the disaster, the church in Antakya is growing and solidifying together. We started a children's ministry, a women's ministry, and last week we started men's gatherings," Elmas said. "And you know what?" she said. "Last week, at least 1,000 people came to our church. We've done youth ministries, we've done teen gatherings, children's gatherings. More than 280 people are currently writing the New Testament by hand. I think we're having a revival right now in Antakya," Elmas said. "This is unbelievable. When the people come here, they say, 'We've never seen anything like what's happening in Antakya.' At services, we share the gospel, and we ask who wants to receive Jesus, and 20 people stand up to come up front. That's unbelievable. Maybe some of them are just here to seek help, but their hearts are open. The way Antakya has responded to the earthquake has created an opportunity for Jesus Christ to be shared in a meaningful way," Elmas said. "We don't know how long we have this period, so however we can, whatever we can do, we should do because we have a limited time." Within Antakya, Elmas described that people are coming to Christians for help, to ask questions, not to the Muslims. Elmas believes it's because everyone saw the Christians helping them when they were in their greatest time of need. Elmas said these people are just very thankful. They know this is because of Jesus Christ, whatever we've been doing. That's what sets us apart. The earthquake recovery in Turkey is still ongoing, and you can connect with Bible Mission to follow what's happening in Turkey. Psalm 46 verses 1 through 3 say, "God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling."